Hey guys, and welcome back to All the Mods 10, episode 30. I am now recording in version 2.7, and the Hephaestus Forge has had a structure update. So, if you remember in the previous episode, there was a input hatch right here, but it's moved over here now. And if you go down to the bottom here, the 9 hatches here were replaced with the machine gearboxes instead. And I guess this was in relation to the fact that these weren't working to begin with, or were, I don't know, vestigial, I guess. Your guess is as good as mine, but I have now moved the input hatch over here, and I was just crafting up some modularium to keep my supplies up so I don't run out. And in between episodes, I found out that I wasn't producing nearly enough deuterium, so I doubled my setup up, given that I will be consuming more deuterium than ever before when I swap to producing DT fuel and giving it DT fuel instead of the separated D and T fuel. Also, while editing the previous video, editing KSL let me know that this was never explained. So what happened here was the deuterium and the oxygen were competing for space in the interface. And given that this interface is also transmitting power, what eventually ended up happening is this spot got filled with Fe as well. And that meant that neither deuterium nor oxygen could come back into the system, which led to a clog. So what I have gone around and done is just put an ultimate trash can right here, and I'm just piping the oxygen, directly into there. That's mostly because, well, I already have more than enough oxygen in my system, so I don't need the extra right here. Now, unfortunately, nobody in the comments has been able to guess what goes in this corner here, but I'll be pulling the curtains, and I'm going to tell you that there's going to be a huge dynamic tank filled with DT fuel in this square right here. Why? Mostly because I can. And not to mention that that fusion reactor is currently turned off for whatever reason, and I don't want that ever happening, even if my AE system is down. So, fueling it through a DT makes the most sense. And why not have a huge stockpile of DT? Makes perfect sense to me. So, dynamic tanks. Now, I've already made dynamic tanks in the past because they are a recipe ingredient for making chemical oxidizers as well as PRCs. And to get inputs and outputs, you just craft a valve like so with the control circuit. Fairly simple. And just as the reactor is a max size of 18 by 18, so is the dynamic tank. And for the sake of, I guess, balance, big reactor, big tank. Now, it's important to note that this is, however, slightly different in the sense that you can get away with building just the frame and have glass all along the bottom, because you don't need to have a sealed top and bottom like the nuclear reactor. Now, I believe the reactor goes up to Y57, and that should be 17 blocks. And this guy's massive size does mean that I have a little bit more clearing to do just around the area here. I'm gonna vein mine a bunch of this stuff away. Goodbye. And now that this big old frame, I realize it's invisible. Give me a second. Yeah. Now that the frame is in place, you can go ahead and place this glass. And I'm just realizing that there's no way I have enough glass. And that's how far 200 glass got me. I was barely able to finish one side. So I've just crafted up 1200 glass, and well, I sure hope that's enough glass, because my foreseeable future is just going to be me clicking repeatedly at the wall. That is 78 million buckets of storage. Now, could I have stored more stuff in a drive or a set of drives? Maybe. But would a set of drives look this impressive in the background of my base? You tell me in the comments. Anyways, enough faffing about. Let's get to it. What I wanted to do was put the tank down right there, and now this would be transferring DD fuel from there into there. How much DT fuel? About 1,000,000 mil buckets so far. Is it even making a dent in here? Maybe. It's honestly much more visible with my shaders off, but the tank has taken on this oddly purple hue, and I think it looks pretty neat. Oh, God. The base looks kind of meh without shaders on, in my opinion. You can see all the dodgy anti-aliasing doing a bad job. All the sharp edges are visible. Looks strange, in my opinion. I'm too used to looking at it like this. Give it a second. There you go. So much nicer, honestly. Now I'm going to, for science, break this right here and put down another one of these. And you can see that it has remembered that it had that much DT fuel in there. Now, I'm unsure how much of the starfish effect the DT fuel tank can sustain, in the sense that I don't know how many parts I can take off of this before it just completely forgets that it was ever a DT fuel tank, but I'm not interested in trying. All I wanted was an output for that guy there. And with that out of the way, I think it's time to address today's objective, the time counter. Now, looking at this recipe, and for the sake of my sanity, I think I will go down the productive trees route after I go down the time route. That is because the time crystals and the time wand from Just Our Things lets me speed up the take rate of the beehives, and that means that getting the pollination and these pollens to get these trees and saplings will be much, much faster if I tackle this first. So let's get started. So I've just bred up 10 draconic bees, and their breeding material of choice happens to be draconic dust. Fortunately, just by leaving them running for so long, I've managed to accumulate 251,000 of that stuff. All I need to do is have them grow up and then crush them to extract their bee genes. Now, also, always empty out the breeding chamber, and that's because as long as there's bees in the breeding chamber is constantly ticking and checking if it can breed these two bees together, and that causes lag. I don't like lag, which is why I built DT Tank. And just like that, 100% draconic bee sample. And once again, I'll just combine this with an egg and a treat, and I'll have a draconic bee spawn egg. That's one down and 5 to go. 5 because you need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Next up, 2 Celestigem bee spawn eggs, and it seems like I just need Celestigem bees, and Celestigem bees are diamond and goo? Yeah, diamond and goo. What about the skulk bee? Digger bee and skulk. That's also fine. Eclipse alloy, I bet then, is something similar where it's a diamond bee and more goo. Ancient bee and shadow pulse goo. I could do all of this. I'll be back. And we're back. You've seen me craft up bees way too many times, so nothing really interesting happened. I had to go looking for a digger bee because I didn't have one, and I did have to make a bunch of ancient bees because I didn't have them. Other than that, I think I'm ready to move on. Bee breeding is not the most eventful of the activities. However, I bet getting time crystals is going to be fun. Now, time crystals grow on a block of budding time crystal, kind of like amethyst, and when you harvest the cluster, you get, well, these crystals that you can then use to craft a whole boatload of different things, including the time wand. And the automation process for this is going to be somewhat involved with block sensors and placers and one of these advanced swappers in multiple dimensions, and that has me wondering, why don't I build it in that space right there? I mean, it's the perfect odd width. I think it's 7 blocks wide. It's got an amethyst geode underneath it. What more can I say? I'm sold. Now, the first step to getting one of these budding time crystal blocks is to use shadow pulse goo next to the budding amethyst, and it'll turn into a budding time crystal block, which you can then manipulate using the cut paste gadget. Fortunately for me, I happen to know a source of budding amethyst fairly close to me. And if I then go ahead and put this block of goo down and feed it its favorite meal, which happens to be skull actually, I should just have this turn into a block of time crystal. Might as well get my cut paste gadget ready in the meantime, because I will need it. That's a copy paste gadget. This is what I'm looking for. And it's turned into the block that I was expecting it to be. So I should now just shift click this and right click this a bunch. Like that, shift select that, and now I should be able to say cut. No, not like that. Like that. And now it's zooped out of the way. And I'm currently building this corner room just so it looks like a pristine, clean lab. White concrete and anti-blocks. This is going to be the transition. There's blocks in the back and a band, and that's it. Just the block in the middle. Yeah, that's it. It just disappears into the void thanks to the use of bright black anti-blocks. It's the same block I'm using here, And I'm also using it at the bottom of the wireless connection room all the way down there. What can I say? I'm a sucker for the effect it provides of just infinite darkness, the void. But in any case, the centerpiece of this room happens to be this block right here. If I can even place it, it seems like it's going to place into that block, so that block right there. Now, as you can see, it seems like it's... Yep, it just turned. It was pulling particles into it. Now, it's just turned into a budding time crystal block of a different variety. And I need to detect this change somehow, and then have it move into the nether. I wonder if one of these advanced sensors will be able to pick up what block it's looking at. If I just tell it that it's supposed to be looking at one of these and say allow list. I don't know how this works, so let's find out. Target blocks, target air, target... Yeah, let's say target block. That seems like it. Oh, it needs power, of course. Let's just give it a gate. And I assume it'll be giving out a sense amount 1. So if it's sensing, right click for settings. Let's see, stage any, stage 0, stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, excellent. I think that's it. So just for funsies, I'm going to put down one of these and say, hey, if you detect less than 1 of these budding time crystal blocks, it's giving an output. And it's at stage, I gotta get rid of that again. If it's at stage 1, it doesn't sense it. And stage 3, oh, of course, there's no stage 3 here. So if I say stage 0, if there's less than 1 stage 0, then move it to the next dimension. And yeah, this now has a render area, so this is going to be affecting this block, but I can always hide this away, so this block is just floating here. And I don't think I mentioned this earlier, but once this absorbs all of the energy that you can see, I accidentally broke the previous one, you gotta put it into the nether, where it absorbs all of the energy in the nether, and then you put it in the end. And once it does it in the end, it can finally start growing crystals. So that's what we need the sensors and swappers for, and I'm gonna set up my preferred setup down here so it's out of the way. Oh, well, the block swapped on me just before I was about to start recording, but I'm gonna set up pretty much the same setup except beneath the floor so that it just seems as if this block is floating here along with all of its crystals. And this guy is sensing the wrong block, so +5. Yeah, that seems about right. And what's cool about this is the fact that if I drag and drop the budding time crystal block down here, I can right click, and if I get rid of JEI, you can see that I have a settings tab out here that lets me select what's allowed or denied out here. So I would like to allow the sensing of the stage 1, which means this is currently stage 1, stage 0 being the default kind that you get from the geode. So once it's transformed, I would like the sensor to emit a strong signal when there is greater than 0 of stage 1. Now if everything works out and I put down a lamp next to it, the lamp should, as I was saying before I had a moment, the lamp should turn on. Oh, it needs power. Of course it needs power. Hold on, please wait, please wait. There we go. Yes. I've put in a small power line for all of the blocks that will eventually end up here, but right now I would like to use a advanced swapper in redstone mode high. So when this emits a redstone signal, which is currently turning that lamp on, this is now trying to swap with whatever goes down the line. In this case, it would be linked to the nether. And what am I swapping, you ask? Well, I would like to swap a area that is a 3 by 3 by 3, like so, and offset in the +Z. Yeah, I would like to swap this entire area over to the next dimension. And obviously, to bind two swappers together, you have a tool for that. It's the ferrocore wrench from the mod itself that lets you bind and unbind things to each other. So that will bind to the one in the nether. Alright, I'm up here in the nether this time. And this is the block I would like to swap to. So if I click this, the block should show up right here. Now, unfortunately, I didn't want the block to come up right just quite yet. And I guess the easy way to fix that would be to link this swapper to here and just have it swap across, I guess. Just send this block over here. Can you do that? Down to the nether. And that's also receiving power. Oh, it needs a redstone pulse or something, I guess. Oak button should do just fine. I should be able to put this here and soup it on over there. Cool. Get it out of my way. And as you can see, it's absorbing these particles and it'll eventually turn orange, I believe. What I wanted to do here was render its area and move it that way. No, I'll get it eventually. This way, yes. And then, of course, have the 3x3 area for swappage, which means this has to go up another block. I think that's quite alright. In fact, I think I'll move it back another block because this is where the sensor will go. Sort of like this. Now, this sensor, I would like to sense more budding time crystal blocks, and it'll be on the allow list, and if it's greater than 0, except this stage will be stage 2. So when it shows up in the nether, it'll be stage 1 like so. Once it's stage 2, I would like to have a strong signal power another advanced swapper that swaps it to the end. And I hope you get what's happening here because it's going to turn into an infinite loop really soon. Oh hey, and it just turned while I was trying to record the next clip. Timing on this guy is pretty decent actually. So, as the sensor sends out its power to this block right here, I would like this to have the same swapping parameters as that. I've just gone ahead and fixed my little oopsie, and the surefire way to know whether this is working or not is to do that. Now this unbound, so this was bound to the missing block over there, but this unbound swapper will now swap to the end. I'll see you there. And here we are setting up something extremely similar once again. So, one of those, I need some gates. And next up I need a swapper to swap here. And then I need a, whatchamacallit, a sensor. Oop, there it was, an advanced sensor to sense the thing. And then another swapper to swap it back to the overworld. And after a little bit of configuring, I have set this up as a strong signal when there is greater than 0 off stage 0. What happens is eventually this guy will have crystals growing off of it and it'll run out of time energy, at which point it'll return back to its original state, which was stage 0. Once it detects a stage 0 block, it should send it back to the overworld. I hope that logic makes sense. If it doesn't, ask questions in the comments section or in the Discord. I'm happy to answer them. So to start the loop, I'm going to take this guy and link it up over here. And then take this guy and link it up right here. Then I would like to take this guy and link it here, which should bring that block here. And I feel like I messed this up. That needed to be set to pulse. As a safety, I can hit a button over here and force it to teleport back. And it should sense and teleport it right back. I hope. And sure enough, it's ended up in the nether on accident. That's okay, because if I pulse it again, it should end up in the overworld. And sure enough, there it is. So as a proof of concept, the system works. I just need to wait and make sure that the system actually works. And if I pulse this again, it'll end up in the end. And it did. How neat. So now I just have to wait for this to turn into the default kind and go back to the overworld. When it does, hopefully it has some crystals, which I guess I have to break in the overworld. So with an advanced block breaker placed here, with an allow list set to time crystals, and filtering by item, I can give it a Celestia Gem pickaxe, ask it to look at stuff 5 blocks up, and if I check out its rendered area, does it sync up with what that looks like? No, it needs to move by a block. That's quite alright. That way? The wrong way. This way. Perfect. And with the blocks drop teleporter thing bound to the same interface as my ore generation, I should be able to teleport all of those time crystals directly into my system. All I gotta do now is wait. Oh, I was tapped out, but it did the thing. It made a kerplunk sound and it went home. So let's chase it. Let's see. I want to see what happened. Okay, let's just let the word load in really quickly. I'm just gonna fly on over here. It's not here. Is it in the nether then? It sure is. It has gone to the next time stage and ended up in the nether. And as this keeps going and going back and forth and growing, eventually I'll get a time crystal. The moment I do though, I'm getting myself one of those time wands, one of these bad boys. It just requires one, and then the time fluid comes from dropping a time crystal in polymorphic fluid, which comes from dropping polymorphic catalyst in water, which comes from nether wart and blaze gold. Easy enough. I just gotta wait. Oh hey, wait a minute. That's the alarm I set for when I have time crystals in my system. Hell yeah, I must have missed it. I was watching a YouTube video in all fairness. And this used to be the spent nuclear waste stuff. but that's alright, I can reset this. Now, unfortunately for you, if you're carrying these time crystals, you'll be hit randomly with bouts of speediness and slowness, and that is the effects of time imbalance that you experience, so it's just way more convenient to have that there. First thing I would like to do is construct myself the time wand, and the time wand requires some time fluid. And to make some time fluid, all you need is a puddle of water, toss in one of these polymorphic catalysts, which is made like so. Next up, all you need is a time crystal, which is my last time crystal. Bing bang bosh, you now have time in your time wand. Now the best part, and the reason why I'm using this bucket on my wand, is because this lets me go to the end and speed up what is arguably the slowest part of this process. And even at 256 times the speed, or 128 times the speed, sorry, all this has done is used around 130 millibuckets of time fluid, which is less than what I will get back by this stuff depleting and giving me all these crystals again. So it's a net positive. Now, I have all the time in the world. Truly. And strangely enough, all 6 time crystals grew on this face before it lost its charge, so I'm gonna keep speeding this up till I run out of fluid or it teleports back into the overworld. Either one. Whichever comes first. And it's gone. You know, after babysitting this thing for a while with additional time fluid in my time wand, it seems like the better place for the block breaker to be is actually in the end, because that's where most of the crystals spend their time growing. And I think I'm gonna make that change. I just hope that the Celestium pickaxe that is bound to the interface over here maintains its binding cross-dimensionally. And if it doesn't, I can always use something like a dimensional chest. Oh, and perfect timing, I guess. I get to compare these sizes. So that has got to move down a bunch. This is sort of how I'm fixing all of these. It's got to move in that direction a block. And that's perfect. Unrender that, and now if I put this in here, whenever one of these grows, I can simulate it actually by doing one of those. Hopefully soon one of these will break. And I think that interface thing did work. I checked, because that just broke, and there should be more time crystals. Not tome crystals, time crystals. 13 of them. Cool. And the block just left. How much time crystals did I get? 18 of them. Perfect, that is enough to make 2 of these. Oh hey, and the last one just came in, so I can now make myself the bucket of time fluid. Beep. Boop. Bap. Ta-da! And this gives me the ability to craft up that time bee spawn egg. Holy moly. Quite a big deal, because this time bee can then give me infinite time crystals. But I think I'll create a second one off camera between episodes, because I would like to use this one to make more progress towards here. And I think the next thing I'm going to tackle is this time traveler sapling. And what better way to find out what to do than to look at the questline for productive trees itself. So, journey begins with the regular old oak sapling, and then you get the flickering sun from, well, it said in the tooltips, desert pyramid chests. And you get these from shipwrecks. So Blue Yonder and Flickering Sun. I wonder if I have any from my conquest so far. Let's take a look at Blue Yonder. I do not. What about the sun thing? Also not. I guess it's time for an adventure. And if I can't find it via adventure, I can always just trade up with the Bee Queen a bunch and have a 1% chance at getting the sapling I want. I will also, however, need pollen in general for making progress in this questline, so I might as well just set it up right here. So to get you some pollen, you'll need, well, bees of some variety, and then you'll have to add pollen sieves. And pollen sieves I have received as a quest reward, and I happen to have exactly 3 of them. The recipe, however, is fairly cheap, just to upgrade some saplings. No worries there. Now all of these go in here, and if you place a leaf block in front of this instead of a feeding slab, you'll get pollen. As a test of the system, I've yoinked a oak leaf from one of the trees out there, and now I'm just gonna do one of these to it and see what happens. I'm hoping it produces something. Hopefully pollen. Oh, it seems I got the setup slightly wrong. You do need the feeding slab, and then also some leaves nearby. And that is producing pollen. Cool. How much pollen do I have already? Just the one, and it's the oak leaves variety. That's a darn shame. That's 2 of them. This might just take a while. And now that I have some pollen in my inventory, I can try to convert one of these into the allergy bee. There's only a 10% chance. And I failed that time. And yes, I have been using this underside as my bee conversion area because the bees don't actually fly anywhere from there. Hey, finally. This thing. An allergy bee. And allergy bees work a little bit harder to get pollen from the hives. So I should now be able to put this here. And if I accelerate this once again, hopefully there's a lot more pollen coming through. Next up, my target is shipwrecks, and I don't think that that is a shipwreck right there, but it's worth a try. You can just go take a look at it, see if it's got any goodies for me. What I'm looking for first is the blue yonder sapling, and once I find that, I'll go after the sun one, and that's going to be in the pyramids. I have found a singular pyramid somewhere in a desert way out here, but that's besides the point. Not in here. Not in this one either. Nope. Also not in the other one. Is it in this one? Maybe. I'll take these. No. Another one. Not in here. What about this one? More goodies. But no sapling. And what about this one? No, but I found a thing. There's a secondary chest up here, isn't it? Nope. Ooh, pretty. Let's see if this one has it. Nope. 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 Oh, this one got hit by a meteor by the looks of it. That's unfortunate. Let's see if it has treasure that I'm looking for. Nope. 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 Oh, finally. Okay, blue yonder. Wait a minute. I've RTP'd and I just found this place. And I remember this place. This was where I spawned in. This was where I died to a shark really early on in the season. Isn't it? Yeah, I looted that structure and I was looking for waystones up here somewhere. Yes, spawn is right here somewhere. How neat is that? Came full circle. While I'm here, actually, I have some unfinished business. I was so afraid of this Archer Walker when I came around here the first time. Not so afraid anymore. That wasn't even that difficult, honestly. I don't know why I was stressing. There's a Ravager down there. Was a Ravager down there. Okay, I found a pyramid too. I wonder if it's in here somewhere. I'll take all of the templates I can. I'm just here to loot everything, guys. Relax, relax. I don't want nothing. Don't press you? That's okay. I believe you. What else? Is there anything worth having in here? Blue stained glass. Let's see. Let's dig around a bit. I don't think so. I think that was it. Ooh, I didn't expect to find one of these in here, but hey, there it is. The flickering sun. I found it in a Badlands temple instead of or a Badlands pyramid instead of a desert pyramid, but here we are. I have both of them now. It only took me 2 hours. And this one's for all of you guys who convinced me to go on an adventure. I found a bunch of cool stuff, explored a whole boatload of biomes and such. Thank you. So your next step happens to be to just grow these trees. And they do take bone meal. And I'm not exactly a fan of the animated tree textures, but it's fine. And then you just grab some of these leaves because you want the pollen off of these blocks. So I've just replaced those oak leaves with these flickering sun guys, and next up I should get pollen from the sun plant or the sun leaf tree thing. There it was. And now, as this tooltip suggests, use on the leaf to manually pollinate it. So if I just come up here and just click this is now pollinated leaves. I should now be able to break this and get the rippling willow sapling. And that's because blue yonder and flickering sun makes the rippling willow. Now I gotta plant this tree. And I guess you guys understand why I don't exactly like productive trees, because that's pretty much it. You get the tree, you get the leaf, then you put it in front of the beehive, and then you accelerate the beehive, and that's pretty much it. We do the thing, and with this pollen, we do that, break the leaf, and I guess I have a couple more, thanks to the bees and their timely work. Now I have the time traveler sapling. But you know what, guys? All of that progress did bring us pretty far. All that's really left is the hand of time from nature's aura. So I think I'm gonna tackle that in the next one, because this one is now over. And with these shiny new trees in my possession, this has been KSOP in Aldemon's 10. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, everybody.